the 2 weeks international FTP on technology insights on IoT, artificial intelligence, and data science. The schedule of today's workshop will focus on the topic Security Perspectives in IoT. I would also like to extend my cordial welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. S.A. Amalanirmal sir. He has completed his PhD in computer applications, specialized in graph mining. He is currently working as an assistant professor in Department of Computing in Muscat College, Oman. He has over 11 years of teaching and research experience in several reputed organizations. He served as a guide for MPhil scholars, placement coordinator for self-financed courses, and as an undergraduate project coordinator for BCS students in various universities. He is certified the Associative Fellow of the Higher Education Academy, UK. He has done over 12 papers in international journals. His areas of interests include data mining, networking, and security. We are really glad to have you with us today, sir. Now, I request Dr. S.A. Amalanirmal sir to take over this session. The session is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for introducing me. And good morning, everybody. Hope my PPT is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, as introduced, my name is Amalanirmal Das, and I'm working as assistant professor in Department of Computing, Muscat College. And today's topic of discussion is security perspectives in IoT. And I have divided this part into two different parts, like a basic introduction about IoT. Then we will see the IoT security concepts. Fine. Just give me a second so that I can just switch off my camera. Okay, fine. Okay. So in this technological world, day by day we move towards the world of smart devices. Whether we like it or not, we are somehow forced to adapt these technological changes. Many, even me, first hesitated to join the social media like WhatsApp, believing that it may be a hindrance for my work. But today, even official information are passed through WhatsApp groups, and even government sectors use social media such as Twitter to pass information. Here we have few things that played a major role in our life a decade ago, which brought us together, which made us happy, but now it became just memories. You can see here, we used to send greetings to our beloved ones. We used to wait for our turn in our hostel days to talk to our parents. Then there are days where we thought this 1.44 MB as a massive storage space. Then there are days where we spent money in printing the photos, and then we took good care of our camera when we are on a picnic or a tour. The same way, this is a small device which is used by company people to exchange messages or to contact their employees inside. I can say almost all of this now became as legends. I mean, it just became as memories. So who made this as memories? As you can rightly see here at this image, this small device which can fit in your hand replace the above devices or technologies. The great advancement in the semiconductor technology, which not only made the innovators to reduce the size of the device, but also made them to create devices that can perform multiple tasks or operations. Just like smartphones, we are using or will use many smart devices such as smart bands, smart cars, smart homes, smart cities, and even smart in everything that is going to create a smart revolution, which will not only replace other devices or technology, but is also going to change the way we live. Okay, so this picture shows something on which we are moving towards. This is nothing but we are moving towards the world of smart devices. Fine. I was keep on mentioning the term smart and smart again and again. In general, we call someone as a smart when he or she understands the problem or situation quickly and act according to it. Am I right? Similarly, we have many definitions for smart devices. Here is one such definition. A smart device is a context-aware electronic device which is capable of performing autonomous computing and connecting to other devices through wire or wirelessly. For what? For data exchange. So here the definition focuses on three main features, namely context awareness, then autonomous computing, and then about connectivity. When we talk about the context awareness, it is about gathering information in and around us, gathering information about the environment. Say for example, we are using GPS. When we travel, we use GPS, where it is aware of the environment and it is giving us the data. Then we have security cameras. Then we have sensors, smoke sensor, different type of sensor used in industrial sector. Then about when we talk about this autonomous, if a device or multiple devices perform tasks autonomously without the direct command of the user, then it can be termed as autonomous computing. Say for example, we can talk about the self-driving cars, Tesla car, Google cars, and even nowadays we can see the advertisement of Toyota for smart cars, self-driving cars. Then you can assume about the military drones, which can autonomously choose a target and it can just do its purpose. Then about the connectivity. See, connectivity, when we talk about network, there comes connectivity. So it is the ability of a smart device to connect to a data network to exchange data. So without this connectivity, I can say no use of a smart device. Okay, fine. So a smart device must have a connectivity, am I right? So what about a smart band? Just think of the purpose of a smart band. You are tying the smart band around maybe in your wrist, am I right? So if you just tie it in your wrist, it is not sharing any data outside. Then why it is called a smart band? See, it is just a standalone system or standalone device unless and until the data which it gathered is moved to a cloud source. Say for example, if you are using an Apple smart band, I don't know the name of it actually, I'm not using it, so I don't know it. So just think about it. If you are wearing that smart band, it will take all the data and it will display to you. But if your data about your heartbeat, pulse, then other things like temperature, if it is sent or moved towards the cloud, then it will become a smart device. So only we are calling it a smart band. Okay, fine. So how these devices are connected? These are generally connected through different wireless protocols such as Bluetooth, Zigbee, then Wi-Fi, 5G, etc. Fine. In the previous slide, we saw about the definition of smart devices. Now let us see what is IoT. Actually, there are many different definitions for IoT, but the term IoT was first coined by Kevin Ashton, the co-founder and executive director of Auto ID Center in 2009. The definition says that the IoT is a scenario in which objects, animals, or people are provided with something called as unique identifiers, and they have the ability to transfer data over network without requiring human to human or human to computer interaction. So he terms about the autonomous systems, which is context aware autonomous systems that can transfer data over a network. So this is the definition given by Kevin Ashton. Okay, then he also says the term IoT evolved from the convergence of wireless technologies, then micro electromechanical systems. Fine. From Gartner, what does Gartner says? From Gartner's point of view, Gartner's glossary point of view, The IoT is a network of physical objects that contain embedded technology. See, that's what we saw in the very first slide. Things are getting smaller, smaller and smaller. So many things are embedded inside again and again to make it very small and to give more capabilities. Okay, so it is a network of physical objects that contains embedded technology for what? To communicate and sense or interact with internal states and external environment. When we have a closer look, to this definition, it talks about the network of physical objects that contain embedded technology, which is nothing but smart devices with lots of embedded features that communicates and sense or interacts with itself or with the external environment. Okay. Now coming to the 2021 IoT insights. It is said that we will have around 1.3 billion projected subscriptions by 2023. And IoT will get a big boost once this 5G technology is going to get introduced. And just a few weeks before I took a seminar on this 5G technology. And for your information, guys, whatever technology you're using is not actually the 5G technology. Okay, because to satisfy the thumb rule of 5G technology, it must have a speed of more than 1 gigabits per second, which we have not yet achieved. Okay, fine. Now, going to the second point. By 2022, the Google Home will have the largest IoT market share, IoT devices market share of about 48%. And it was in 2020 in USA alone, it was it was found that around 10 devices were there in a single household. Smart devices are there in a single household. By 2021, end of 2021, around 35 billion IoT devices will be installed around the world. Then the number of connected devices in 2021 will be 46 billion. This may be the present status, and it is projected to be 46 billion at the end of this 2021. But there are many different statistics that have been shown. I am giving you all the different statistics. So why IoT become the trend of the day? Why it is in the limelight? According to Juniper research report, it says that the number of IoT devices in 2021 will reach 46 billion, just I showed in the previous slide. For comparison, this is like a 200% increase when compared with 2016. Okay, 2016, when the IoT became very popular. So comparing to 2016, now in 2021, it is like 200% of increase. Then it says, according to Security Today, it says that by the end of 2021, 31 billion new IoT devices will be used. And it is also projected that around 125 billion devices will be used in 2030. 125 billion devices. Then the IoT market share value will be over 500 billion by 2021. Then it says that 35% of manufacturers will utilize data from automation and manufacturing. Then there will be a number of different speakers out there. Okay, speakers like Alexa, we all know about the Alexa. However, Google Home is expected to have the largest slice of the pie, as mentioned in the previous slide, like 48%, followed by Amazon's Alexa for around 37%, and then finally like Apple HomePod may be having around 12%. Okay, then in the last few years, there has been a lot of focus in the application of 5G in relation to IoT. See, guys, 5G is going to create a very big revolution in the way we live, because once 5G is going to get released, then there will be a lot of changes in IoT, artificial intelligence, lot of things will come to us. Then predictions are that it will increase nearly 54 billion in 2022. And people will focus on entertainment, lighting, applying home appliances, and also temperature, then other type of industrial sensors. Then finally, experts predict that the data usage will be around 80 zettabytes by 2025. Here is the statistics of devices with and without IoT from 2010 to 2025 as per Statista Analytics. If you just see it, in 2010, the number of non-IoT devices is around 8 billion. And if you just see, in 2025, it is like more or less same, right? See, 10.03 billion will be there. I'm talking about non-IoT devices. When we talk about the IoT devices, you can see here, it started with 0.8 billion in 2010, and it is projected to reach around 31 billion in 2025. And this is a source taken from Statistica. Okay. Now coming to the one of the main topic of IoT application areas. See guys, there are a wide spectrum of IoT application areas. So what you see here is nothing but a smart factory, where the IoT devices are used to perform enterprise assessment management, which involves work management, asset maintenance, then planning and scheduling, supply chain management, etc. And these IoT devices are used to collect real-time data from an asset with IoT sensors. And one more main important usage of IoT in industry is it can do the predictive maintenance. So what is predictive maintenance? Predicting the failure before it can occur. Okay, that also can be possible with the help of IoT. And as you can see here, this is about the smart city, which includes the outdoor surveillance. Then you can control the road toll and traffic management. You can manage street and outdoor lighting. Then police evidence gathering, smart parking. Then structural health monitoring of government and public and private buildings. Then waste management, noise monitoring. Many things you can do in this smart cities with the help of IoT. Then when we talk about the water management, IoT plays a very important role. See, just think about the water usage for irrigation. With the help of IoT devices, we can do precision farming. IoT, when combined with 5G, it can do precision farming. That means you can just choose how much of water is needed for a particular crop. Okay, then you can do something on the water conservation, then water quality management, then water leakage management, etc. Then about this is about health and safety. Okay, health and fitness. So in health and fitness, we can use IoT for detecting elderly and visually challenged. Detecting fall detection for elderly people. We can just think about the companion robots. Even the smart band which you are using while you are doing exercise is a very good example of this IoT application in fitness. Then about smart retail. Nowadays, everything we are buying online. Am I right? Everything we are buying online. The same way, using IoT, we can do smart product management. Then we can control the supply chain management also. Okay. Then this is a very important thing. It's about the smart home, where we can make all the devices as smart devices in our home, starting from the coffee maker, then setting the temperature of your air conditioning, everything, door lock, everything. Okay. Then about smart logistics, where you can manage the logistics. You can track the fleet, you can track the connected vehicles. Then about smart grid. See, when we talk about the smart grid, you can just think about the carbon emission that leads in global warming. When lot of energy is consumed, then lot of global warming is there. What if we can manage this energy usage? with the help of IoT, then automatically we can reduce carbon emission. Okay, so here comes that application of smart grid. Then we can use it in smart cars. Then yeah, this is a very interesting thing. It's called as digital twin. Okay, a digital twin is a virtual replica of a physical entity. It can be a device, it can be a people, it can be a process, or it can be a system. Okay, so it's a replica of a real thing. So with the help of IoT sensors, we can collect all the data about a particular physical system. We can collect business data and all the other type of data, and then we can create something called as a twin of it. Okay, digital twin of it. This digital twin will enable the business to gain a deeper understanding of real world condition, so that the business people can make necessary adjustments to their products and services. Okay, say for example, you can see it's like, yeah, it's an oil well. Yes, oil well in a sea with its digital twin. So all the data is gathered from here and a digital twin is made. And now whatever changes or whatever process they want to do in future, they can first test in this digital twin. And based on the effects it gives, whether it's a good effect or bad effect, with the help of that, by learning that effects, then that can be applied to this real system. Such a wonderful technology. Okay, now we are in the second part of our topic. We have seen a widespread application of IoT almost in each and every field. Am I right? Now, here comes a very basic question. What happens if the so-called smart devices gets hacked? Just imagine you are driving your smart car to your office to attend the most important meeting with your client. You go to the parking area, you park the car, and when you're about to open the door, when you are about to open the door, it is not allowing you to open the door. You are getting a call, or maybe from your audio system of your car, it's saying that pay me $10,000 so that I will release you. You will not have any choice other than paying the ransom amount and to get yourself released. Similarly, just imagine when you go to your home and find your smart appliances malfunctioning due to an attack by a hacker. Just imagine your beloved ones or you gets locked in a smart door and a ransom was demanded to get out of it. Also imagine your smart car was hacked and artificial brake failure was made by the attacker. Sorry, I did not get any GIF image for the car, so I just used this one as a funny image. Okay. Apart from this, in a worst case scenario, attacks can be made on smart devices that can cause crash of power grids, hacking of your digital accounts including a bank account through your smartphone, then malfunctioning of a nuclear reactor, or even worse, attacks can happen in health monitoring systems. Just imagine how life-threatening it will be. Dears, do not think that it may happen only in Hollywood movies or in science fiction movies. As you can see here, this picture may sound crazy or funny, okay? But we cannot just omit it just like that, as this may happen to us in future if we are not going to secure our IoT devices. This is a smart home scenario where you can see each and every device is threatening for a ransom. To start with, I can read a few. See here, the webcam. Okay, the security cam is saying that it is watching whatever you are doing in the home. And it says that if you're not paying, then you will be watched by others in IoT. Okay, you'll be watching others who have IoT devices. Then here you can see, yeah, a toaster. A toaster says, pay me $250 immediately or your reputation will be toasted. Then you can see here the smart car key. It says that it will help you to drive to the bank to make the bank transfer, the ransom amount transfer. Though it seems to be funny, this may become reality if we are not going to check on our IoT security in future. Okay. Here let me discuss on few IoT security attacks that will make us not to take IoT security in lighter sense. See, a team of researchers, they used to check the safety of smart cars in July 2015 in US, okay, USA, St. Louis in USA. And they just took a Jeep, okay, took a Jeep for testing with the permission of the car owner. They just tried with remotely controlling of the Jeep. And while they just tried it, they have exposed the security vulnerabilities in automobiles. Like they hacked into the cars remotely, they controlled the car, they controlled various controls starting from the radio volumes to the brakes. They succeeded in remotely controlling the air conditioning of the car. Then they just played very loud sound in the car radio. They just switch on the windshield wipers, and they even stopped the accelerators and finally succeeded in stopping the car. Okay, so this was a test which was done in 2015. See, after knowing this particular Jeep hack, another car company named as Chrysler, okay, Chrysler, they just recalled its 1.4 million cars for a bug fix. Okay, for a bug fix, they just recalled 1.4 million, 14 lakh cars for bug fix. And in 2018, a 2018 report in the Senate of Future of Automated Vehicles in Canada, they found that without strong safehold in place, cyber terrorists can take control of Canadian cars from halfway across the world. Okay, and the report also recommends that they need to urgently develop a vehicle safety guideline for designing of automated and connected vehicles. Okay, and in this is about another attack. It's a major and massive attack. It's a very famous attack in the history of IoT security. It was on October 12, 2016, a massive denial of service attack. It left almost the east coast of USA entirely out of internet access. Okay, the attack was called as Mirai botnet attack. Initially, the officials of the US East Coast, they thought that it may be an attack from a hostile nation, maybe an enemy country. But later on, they found out that it's just a small attack which originated from a particular place. See, even the attackers, they had a less ambition of just attacking the Minecraft servers. Okay, they just want to attack the Minecraft servers with the help of some 60 username and passwords. But finally, even for the wonder of that attackers, it became very powerful, and almost it just made hundreds and millions of devices inaccessible to internet. Then about the healthcare devices vulnerability, the FDA of USA, Food and Drug Administration of US, they confirmed that St. Jude medical implantable cardiac devices like pacemakers have vulnerabilities. You all know about the pacemaker, right? If someone is having some problem with heart, then they'll replace a device called a pacemaker. They'll fix a device called a pacemaker, which is used for heartbeats, okay, enhancing the heartbeat. And the FDA, they found vulnerabilities in such cardiac devices, okay, where they say the hacker can access the device. So after accessing, the hackers can induce some shocks, and they can just administer incorrect pacing of the heartbeat. They can deplete the battery. Then about the security breaches in security cameras, TrendNet is a company which deals with security cameras, and they released a security camera saying that it not only checks the home security, but it can also do the baby monitoring. Okay, unlike in India, in Western countries, they will have someone to monitor the baby. Okay, in the same way, they have some baby monitoring softwares and baby monitoring tools also. So similarly, this TrendNet, they released a camera called SecureView, which promised that they can monitor the baby and it will be very secure. But however, it had a faulty software that it let anyone to obtain its camera IP. Not only that, it is found that it is passing the user login credentials in a readable text without encrypting. Okay, and also it was found that using that many other devices login credentials can be taken. Then according to Fox 6 News in 26 December 2019, couples from a city of USA stated that the hackers took over their smart home by compromising the connected devices. They said that the attackers played disturbing music from the video system at high volume. They said the hackers were able to see them with the security camera fixed in the kitchen, and they said the hackers even managed to increase the temperature to 90 Fahrenheit. Then when we talk about the nuclear power attacks, the Germans and Ukraine nuclear power plants were shut down by the hackers, which happened in 2016 and 2015 respectively. Then, a pair of researchers, actually they are also couples, they analyzed something like a $13,000 worth computer-assisted sniper rifle, and they found a way to intercept it, and they are able to change its target. See, changing the target of a sniper rifle, it is also possible. Then FBI agrees that your smart TV can also be hacked, so you are supposed to change the passwords frequently. So starting from the coffee makers, doorbells, smart cars, smart cities, everything can be hacked. Wherever you see smart, it is possible to hack them. So what makes the IoT different from the IT security, normal cyber security? Normal IT security, not cyber security, IT security. See, IoT is entirely different from the traditional IT security or cyber security. The reason is the IT security will deal mainly with data, server, network infrastructure only. Okay, whereas the IoT is going to take control of the entire devices connected in a network. So IoT security must be more robust than IT security because it is connected to the physical world. Okay, and according to IBM, it states some 5 different factors. Say for example, let us take the environment. When we talk about the IT devices, it will be in a lab environment. Am I right? It will not be given outside in a physical environment. But whereas the IoT devices are kept in a hostile environment, that is in a physical environment outside, which can be easily tampered. Next, about the variety. When you talk about the IT devices, we have only certain type of devices for IT. Say for example, we have routers, servers, then we have computers. But whereas when you talk about the IoT devices, it has variety of devices like smart bands, cars, then sensors for checking the temperature. Many different variety of devices are there. Okay, so managing all these devices and securing all these devices is also a big problem. Again, there are many billions of IoT devices. Many billions of IoT devices out there when compared with millions of IT devices, or maybe like a few hundred or few thousand devices in a particular enterprise system. Next is about the organization of IoT. See, these IoT devices, it is going to bridge the information system with the operation system. Okay, so information system and operation system, because as we saw in the definition of IoT, it is going to be context aware, autonomous with network. So context aware means it is working in an environment where it is going to gather the data. After gathering it, it is going to give it to a place where it can be operationalized. So here comes a major difference between the IoT difference with the IT devices. Then next about the consequence. See, whenever we talk about any IT device hacked, it may be just a news. But what if an IoT device is hacked? Just think of a medical equipment, maybe a pacemaker, just we discussed in the previous slide. If the hacker is going to stop the pacemaker, then what will happen to the patient? It is going to drastically change the life of a patient, and also it's going to drastically change the reputation of a company which manufactures such devices. Okay, to understand IoT security, first you must understand the different layers of IoT. You can see some different layers given by me. I mean, I have taken from somewhere. It's not given by me actually. It starts with perception layer, then network layer, processing layer, application layer, and business layer. So perception layer, you can think about the physical layer of OSI layers, okay? So as the name suggests, perception means it is going to perceive something. I can say that this layer is analogous to our eyes, nose, ears, and the sensory organs, which receives the data, which is going to get the data, okay? So that is the reason this particular layer can also be called as a sensor layer, which comes with various wide range of sensors available to capture data, including location, temperature, movement, humidity, etc. Then comes the network layer, which is used to connect the perception layer with the processing layer, okay, the processing layer. And you can see, as you can see here, you can use different types of technologies to connect this perception layer to the processing layer. Say for example, you have a IoT sensor, it captures some data. After capturing it, it is going to send that data to some place, maybe a cloud storage or maybe to a storage, any database. So for that, it is going to use different technologies like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, then 4G, 5G, infrared, etc. Then comes the processing layer. This processing layer will have many advanced features like storage, then computation, then processing, and then it will also do the analysis. This layer can also take decisions based on the processing and the calculation done on the data set obtained from the sensors. Then once the processing is done, it gives the data to the business layer. Okay, business layer. So this business layer is where all the business logic is present. What type of data is necessary for the business analyst? What type of data is not necessary? All these things, all the logic will be there in the business layer. We can even combine these two layers together, okay? And then comes finally the application layer, which is a layer you and me will interact, okay? When we talk about the user interaction, it can be any of the smart device the user uses, including a simple coffee maker machine to the GPS satellite information. Hence, IoT is a convergence of multiple sophisticated technologies such as real-time analytics, machine learning, sensors, embedded systems, gateways, and other complex systems. This makes the IoT devices more complex, in the same way more vulnerable. Now let us see how the security perspectives of IoT device will vary from different actors involved in IoT security. So let us just first talk about the threat perspective view of IoT security. See, when we talk about threat means nothing but something which is going to check for the vulnerabilities of your system and try to exploit it. Say for example, we can talk about backdoors. Backdoors will try some covert methods for bypassing the normal authentication process to enter inside the IoT device. And when we talk about the malwares like Trojan horse, it will try to disguise itself as a legitimate software to enter inside the IoT device. And after entering into the IoT device, the threats like Trojan will try to take over it and make it as a bot. Bot is you can also call it as zombie, okay, zombie which can be used to attack other devices. Some examples are like a security camera that is accessible to others. We may check some sites like Shodan IO to know the open webcams around us, okay. Then when we talk about the attacker perspective, the attacker will try new ways. See, once a way is found, then a fix will be done by the security professionals. And attacker will not keep quiet. He will try many new different ways to gain the access and gain the control of the IoT device, and will try to steal the data and so on. For example, we talked about the Mirai botnet attack few seconds before, which turned the network devices running Linux into remotely controlled bots. You may wonder, as we discussed earlier, initially it targeted only Minecraft server. It used only 60 default username and password. See, devices comes with default username and password, and we are forgetting to change it. We are so lazy that we are not even changing the default username and password of our Wi-Fi routers or Wi-Fi access points. Okay, so this particular Mirai botnet attack, they used only 60 default username and password, but finally it turned to be like taking control of hundreds and thousands of devices. Okay, so this is what the reason we are not supposed to use the device without changing the default username and password. Then with respect to the defender's perspective, which includes the designer, developer, manufacturer. So defender means we can talk about the designer, developer and manufacturer. Okay, they will try to find out the vulnerabilities, the weakness of the IoT device through vulnerability assessment, through penetration testing and other means of security assessments. For example, the defenders will check the open ports like SSH ports. Then they will check on the whether they have set up the firewall rules or not, etc. Okay, fine. Now, as you can see from this image, due to insecure components, the attackers can easily exploit the vulnerabilities and can hack them. See here, these are some common IoT vulnerabilities. Then what user can act on. To what user must watch out for the common insecure components. They have to check for the outdated components or components that contain vulnerabilities. Then they have to check for the unnecessary open ports, which is open for attack, and they have to fix it. They have to close it. Then they have to check with the insufficient login mechanism. There is a lack of logging mechanism in devices, which will make it easier to hide the malicious activities. So they have to watch out for it. Then about the inadequate privacy and protection and encryption. See, most of the IoT devices, I can say like almost 80% of IoT devices, they do not have a proper encryption. They are sending the data in a plain text. They are transferring data in a plain text without encrypting it. So it needs to be checked. Then about the patching. When we talk about the patching and updating, many of the companies that manufactures IoT devices, they are least bothered about the patching and updates. Even if they are releasing, the users are least bothered about it. So devices are lacking automated patching mechanisms, which is again a problem, which makes the IoT device vulnerable. Then about the hard-code passwords. Sometimes password cannot be changed. This is also a very big drawback of IoT devices. Then users can also act on these things, like they can check for the insecure settings, device settings, and they are supposed to check it and fix it. If there is any insecure settings, they are supposed to maximize the security. Then about weak passwords. See, the passwords must have some strong. It should be strong password, and it must have certain length. Okay, good length passwords. Sometimes we are not doing it. Then about patch management, again, as we talked before, the patches for the vulnerabilities must be done. So how to address these type of IoT device vulnerabilities? Here is an example of a smartphone from which you can just I have taken this as an example. See, be careful whenever you are choosing any device in a Wi-Fi or in an open network. Okay. Most importantly, do not connect with everywhere wherever you get free Wi-Fi. Okay, you have to be very careful about that. Then you have to understand each device accessibility, settings and permissions. whenever you are going to connect with one device, it can be able to take some data from your device. You have to check it. Even when you are downloading the app, it is asking for whether you are allowing it to copy the contacts or contact the contacts, then use your messaging informations. The same way, whenever you connect with another IoT device, you are supposed to check for its accessibility settings. Then you have to map and monitor all the connected devices. Then you have to use network segmentation. Okay, who can access this network and who can access the other network. Then you have to change a default password and use secure settings. Then you are supposed to disable unused functions and connections. This is how you can address the IoT device vulnerability. Okay. See, this particular slide shows the different varieties of security attacks that can happen in an IoT device. It is majorly categorized into two different categories like passive attacks and active attacks. As the name suggests, the passive attack does not have to directly interact with the IoT device, whereas the active attack will directly interact with the IoT device. Okay, when we talk about the passive attacks, you can see here we have eavesdropping, node destruction, node malfunctioning, node outage, traffic analysis, etc. Eavesdropping is nothing but overhearing some unencrypted data in a network. Whenever data is passed, if it is unencrypted data, then it can be overheard or can be listened and the data can be gathered. And about node destruction, as the name suggests, it can be a tampering of a device physically or by the means of electrical signals. Similarly, the node malfunctioning can be done, and also node outage can also be done. In the same way, the traffic analysis is a process of intercepting and examining the messages in order to deduce the information from patterns in communication. So these are types of passive attacks we have. Now let us go to the active attacks. The application layer deals with the direct user interaction and can be attacked using code injection techniques. So what is code injection? When an attacker exploits an input validation flaw in a software to introduce and execute malicious code, that is called as code injection. Okay. Then the attacker can do buffer overflow attack. So what is buffer overflow attack? If a buffer has a fixed limit or size, if the attacker is going to dump with a lot of data, then automatically the buffer cannot handle it and it will become unresponsive. The same way, the attacker can also manipulate the data. Data manipulation can be done. Okay. Then the attacker can do phishing attacks. Then he can do authentication and authorization attacks on passwords. Okay, these are the type of attacks that can be done in application layer. Then when we talk about the middleware layer, okay, first of all, what is middleware layer? Middleware layer is a layer that enables a connection between the complex programs that were not initially designed to be connected. Okay, and it is an integral part of supporting the IoT architecture. So this is going to support the IoT architecture and is going to act as a bridge between the application layer with the other layers. Okay, and here you can expect the DOS attack, that is the threading attacks. Then malware injection from cloud, you can just expect that. Then you can expect the signature wrapping attack. It is a type of attack where an attacker is able to change the content of the signed part without invalidating the signature. Okay, then you can expect web browser attack, then SQL injection attack. Just like code injection, in SQL injection, the backend database will be manipulated. Okay, the malicious SQL code is used for manipulating the backend database data. Then comes the network layer. Just like in middleware layer, here also you can experience the DOS attack. Okay, DOS attack where unauthorized person was able to access the network network issues due to flooding. Okay, and they can just stop the authorized users to access particular resource. So such type of DOS attacks can happen. Example is Mirai attack. Then you can expect Sybil attacks. So Sybil attacks are one of the biggest issue when connecting with peer-to-peer network. So in Sybil attacks, the attacker, he will create a single node. Okay, he will create a single node, and he will pretend that single node to be a multiple node, many different nodes. With that multiple identities, the attacker can easily get closer to any of the point-to-point network, peer-to-peer network. So this type of attack is possible in the network layer. Then there is a very interesting attack called as hole attacks, where we have sinkhole attack, black hole attack, and wormhole attack. In sinkhole attack, just assume something like this. There are many connected nodes, and we have one more malicious node in that. And we have a base station where we will transfer the data and receive the data. This malicious node, what it will do, it will connect with all the other nodes. It will compromise it. And finally, whatever data that comes from other nodes, it will get it, and it will send its own forged data to the base station. Okay, to make it simple, it will recreate its own message or data and send to the base station. This type of attack is called a sinkhole attack. Then about black hole attack. Whenever a node is passing a message to another node, this black hole, a malicious node, will just stop it and it will reply for it. Okay, say for example, if I just want to communicate with Subhraj sir, say for example, I'm just communicating with you, and then you are transferring the data to Subhraj sir. Okay, whereas in this black hole attack, the malicious node will stop that message. Instead of me getting a reply from Subhraj sir, the malicious node will give me back the reply. So that type of attack is called as black hole attack. Similarly, we have wormhole attack, where a separate tunnel of network is formed to transfer the data to the attacker. Fine. Then we have something like a sniffing attack. Then we have attacks like replay attacks. Then man in the middle attack, etc. can also be possible in network layer. Then the perception layer. It is a layer where we have the actual sensor devices. The following type of attacks, such as unauthorized access to a device, tag cloning, radio frequency jamming, then spoofing attacks can be done in this layer. Also, sleep deprivation attack is a type of attack where the attacker will keep on request a victim node and make the victim node to be always awake, so that the victim node will perform energy intensive operations, and finally it will malfunction. So that's called a sleep deprivation attack. So these are type of attacks you can expect in IoT security. And here comes a simple example of how an IoT botnet attack happens. You can see here an attacker is here who just get the access of an IP camera via an open port. Then he uses code injection or command injection to connect to download website. Then after that, he downloads and executes the malicious script on the command and control server, and he makes the command and control server as a botnet server. And through that, he is commanding the victim's IP camera to perform DDoS attack against the target. And then also he will exploit other IP cameras. This is one example. And here, this is also a very good example of how hackers can take control of your smart home and other smart devices. Say for example, when we talk about the taking control, the controls for smart door, then controls for light, controls for AC, thermostats, all those things can be taken control in a smart home. The same way, the control for door lock and control for audio systems can be taken in a smart car. Similarly, the control for the devices, devices used in smart devices used for medical medical things for a user can be taken control. Okay, it can be taken control, and after all this data are taken control, the information will be stolen. Say for example, the information about all the smart devices, the information about the car, the information about the personal devices can be taken control, like the insulin pumps, the heartbeat level, all this information can be taken. Then after taking control of the informations, the hackers can disrupt the service. Okay, they can disrupt the service of the home, smart home and its appliances. They can disrupt the applications of the car. Just we saw in the disruption of application of a Jeep, which was tested by the researchers. Then they can also shut down the health monitoring systems. See, pacemakers can also be disrupted and disabled. Fine. So here comes the top reasons for IoT attacks. The IoT devices are largely vulnerable because they lack in built-in security necessary to counter the threats. In addition to the technical aspect, users also contribute to the vulnerability of the devices to threats. You know, we users, we are not minding about the security, and we are just leaving it just like that. We are using weak and guessable default credentials, and the passwords are used without changing. The default passwords are used, which is easy for the users to guess the hackers. If you just go to the website and go to browser and check for the default passwords, you will get almost all the default passwords of major devices, okay, like routers and everything. Then it has limited computing capabilities and hardware restrictions. That is, these devices have specific functions that will guarantee only limited computing capabilities, leaving little room for robust security mechanisms. Then when we talk about the vulnerability of IoT ecosystem, see, these devices are centrally managed, and it is integrated with legacy systems. Okay, we have many smart devices, we have many new devices, but these devices are connected with the legacy system where it fails to monitor it and secure it. Then again, we have insufficient or non-existent update mechanisms and patching mechanisms. Then when we talk about the heterogeneous transmission technology, we have variety of devices which are transmitting variety of data. So securing all those data is also a very big hurdle for us. Then lack of IoT governance. Okay, the devices connect a lot of personal data. If security measures like encryption and data protection policies are not put in place, then automatically the hackers can easily steal all the informations. Then finally, it is us that's the use of the lack of security awareness. Okay, the lack of security awareness. So apart from this, I can say like an average of 25 vulnerabilities are detected per device. That is 60% of IoT device has vulnerabilities in the interfaces and firmwares. 70% did not encrypt the communication. 80% of device failed to request secure length passwords. Then according to an investigation by NCC Group and the Global Cyber Alliance, the smartphones could experience more than 12,000 cyber attacks in a single week. So how to counter the different IoT attacks? Here are something like for physical attack, you can use physically unclonable functions, and which makes difficult to clone an IoT device. For eavesdropping, you can secure the link layers by encrypting it, and you can use key pre-distribution. For tampering, again, see here comes something called as JTAG. JTAG is nothing but an industry standard for verifying the design and testing the printed circuits after manufacturing. So you can just disable it. If you are disabling it, then tampering cannot be done. Then for black hole attacks, sinkhole attacks, and wormhole attack, you can use multipath routing. Then you can use different type of routing algorithms. Then you can use location-based keys to avoid these type of attacks. Then talking about the authentication attack, you can use again digital fingerprint using physical unclonable functions. Okay, now coming to the main part of how to secure the IoT device. We can secure it with two different types, that is with lightweight cryptography and using quantum cryptography. Okay, so what is lightweight cryptography? Unlike the conventional cryptography that uses to secure the information of just the servers and desktop and tablets, this lightweight cryptography is used to secure embedded systems, then RFIDs, then sensor networks. The motivation of lightweight cryptography is that, as its name suggests, it is going to use less memory, less computing resource, and less power supply. Next is about the quantum cryptography, which implements a rule of quantum mechanics to create a secure cryptographic system. Okay, it is just like the VPN, wireless private network, and it uses a safe and secure link that is established between 2 points on a network via a variety of encryption methods, allowing the end users or devices to safely interact. See, the theoretical data says that this quantum cryptography cannot be breached at all. Okay, by breach at all without getting noticed by the sender or the receiver of the message. And these are the security requirements of different layers in IoT. For perception layer, you can do data protection, key agreement, node authentication. For network layer, you can apply encryption mechanisms and authentication. For processing layer, you can apply security mechanisms on computational resources. You can update all the installed softwares. Then in application layer, first thing is you have to create security awareness to its users. Then you can do privacy protection. Then you can apply multiple authentication techniques. So what you can do, this is a final slide, what you can do. First of all, you must turn off your smart hub if it is not in use. The next, you have to reset all your smart devices. Okay, when you find that, when you just suspect something as a attack or something, reset all your smart devices. Then you are supposed to secure your router. You have to fix some firewall rules. Then you are supposed to stop your router being public. You must always secure with the proper password. Then change your default password. Then change your passwords frequently. Then you are supposed to isolate and update the device. When you're doing updates, you are supposed to isolate it and then you are supposed to update it. Then you are supposed to monitor your network constantly. And you have to check who is accessing your network, who are all using your network. Then do your homework. That is, whenever you are going to connect any new IoT device, check it thoroughly, what type of effects it can bring into your network. By doing all these things, you can secure your IoT devices. Thank you all for listening patiently, and now the session is open for queries. Sir, Subraj.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, participants post the query in the chat box, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Let me just check it.
Yes.
Sir, I'll read the question, sir.
Yeah, please. Chat box. Yeah. Here we have this. Yes, I can see it. Yes.
Okay, sir. Like in 7 point, it has been happened by Pegasus spyware.
Yeah.
I'm not really
7
sure.
point have been happened by Pegasus spyware. Okay. When we talk about the Pegasus spyware, it is nothing but it is a spyware. Okay, as you mentioned rightly, it's a spyware which is created by NSO Group of Israel. It is used to It is used for surveillance of some antisocial elements. Okay, where they just the way it works is like this. You are sending a link, just like in the phishing attacks, and when the victim is going to click that link or open an image or anything, then automatically the entire control of that smart device is going to the attacker's hand, or not the attacker's hand, the person who is surveilling that particular person. Okay, that's how it was made. And you know, they even updated that particular Pegasus software so that there is no need for the victim or the person to be surveilled to even click that link or open the image. They can even get control of the device with a missed call or with a message. Okay, and they can even hide that message or hide that particular missed call. That's how they just use this Pegasus software. Okay, so that is what about the Pegasus software. Sir, even though our Indians are using iPhone, why Israel said is this question, Mr. Ashok Kumar, is this question complete? See, it's not about iPhone, it's not about other phones. Even iPhones can also be hacked. Okay, that's what the thing we found from the Pegasus spyware attack. Not spyware attacks, Pegasus spyware. Okay, fine. Then from Mr. Alexander Jivanandam. Okay, so the need for cybersecurity is very much important in IoT. Yes, it is very much needed. See, we lack in awareness of the cybersecurity issues and issues of IoT devices. We think that, okay, just a smart band or just a smart TV. But you know, okay, let me just say a small instance about the smart TV, okay, which I read in a newspaper before a few years. One gentleman, he just got a new smart TV. He fixed in his home, and he just linked that smart TV with his mobile phone. And then he went to the office. Okay, went to his office. After reaching the office, he just started receiving some pictures, images from his home. Okay, and he just got scared, and he just thought it was like an attack by a hacker, and the hacker is taking picture and sending it to his mobile phone. He just immediately registered a complaint with the police. The police came to the home of that person. Then finally they found the culprit is the smart TV. Okay, what the smart TV did, whenever anything like it is just working like a motion sensor. Whenever something is going here and there, it just captured the moment, and it was just sending it to the owner of that particular smart TV. This is what happened. So we are not aware of the capabilities of the smart devices. That is where we lack of. Okay, so it must be first checked. We must be aware of what the smart device can do before using it. Okay, so it is very needed. Okay, fine. How to test the quality of IoT sensors from different vendors? It's a good question, but how to test the quality of the IoT sensor? See, there are many different techniques like testing it. See, whenever any product is released, they will release it with the help of testing. Without testing, they will not release it. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can also just check with tools like Wireshark. Okay, even Wireshark. See, what's the use of Wireshark? It is a packet analyzer tool. Am I right? So you can analyze a particular IoT device of what type of data it is passing. Okay, what type of data it is passing, what type of packet it is sending outside. Okay, that's how you can just test your IoT device. But when we talk about the quality of IoT sensors, it's very difficult. You know, I cannot compare the quality of a Sony TV and I cannot compare the quality of a Samsung TV. It's all up to the users, right? We have to choose the right product. Any other questions? Okay. Anything else, ma'am? Yeah. How security maintained while coordinating with each other? Yeah, that is what the big issue, Mr. Natarajan. As we told, we have variety of IoT devices which generates many different varieties of data also. So checking each and every device is what the difficulty we are facing with IoT devices. It's actually a very good question, but this is what we need to check. Like we have to use a proper testing tool like Wireshark. Then we can also use Nmap, BetterCap. Okay, fine. What about zero-day attack in IoT environment and research solutions? Okay, fine. So whenever we talk about zero-day attacks, zero-day attack is nothing but the attack that happens before the vulnerability was found by the manufacturer itself. Okay, or it's like before a fix for the vulnerability is being found by the manufacturer. The same way, the IoT devices has lot of vulnerabilities, as we talked before, just before. It has lot of vulnerabilities and exploits that can create zero-day attacks. Okay, it's true, Mr. Karthik, that it will create a lot of zero-day attacks, and there is research going on how to rectify it. Okay. When you yeah. Anything else?
So that's it, sir.
Yeah, just only one thing I just want to show. This is about the Shodan IO. I was talking about the Shodan IO, right? About the open ports of a security camera. You can just go to the Shodan IO search engine, where you can just search for different type of devices available in the network. I mean, in the world. You can just check for the webcams. Yeah, I have opened this here. You can just go to any webcam and you can just click on it, and you can check for its open ports. And see here, this IP camera, it's from Switzerland. Okay, city is Geneva, and you can see the open ports are port 80 is open, 443 is open, 1723 is open, 8083 is open. Okay, and when the attacker comes to know about these open ports, they can easily attack it using these open ports. Okay, they can easily get control of it. They can pass through it, and they can just attack that particular webcam, and they can get the data from the webcam. Okay. Similarly, we have Nmap, which you can use for analyzing your own network, and you can use BetterCap to access other networks. Okay. Then also like TCP dump we have. Then we have a SOASTA cloud test. Then about netstat command. Okay. See this. In your command prompt itself, you can go and check with the netstat command for its open ports and other informations of your connected network. Okay. You can see all the connections and listening ports. Okay. Likewise, an attacker can go to any IoT device and they can do this netstat command, and they can find out the types of open ports of that particular device if they are inside that network. Okay, this is what I want to show. Okay, I have taken a lot of time, right? Fine. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the amazing, enlightening, and informative session, sir. We learned a lot about the upcoming data science world. Thank you for making everything clear. And sir, do you want to say something?
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, Subbaraj sir, for giving this opportunity to share my knowledge. And it's like a learning process, right? Even I learned many things from this IoT security concepts. Thank you so much, and thank you, participants, for your patience listening, and thank you for showing the interest in attending this webinar. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you, sir.